What's up, people? Welcome to week 3 of the Summer English 1102 season. I'm pretty dark in here. Let's see. I don't know if I got anything, if I got anything lighter, but it looks lighter to me. So this week you are finishing up and completing, writing and completing essay 1. Okay. You'll be working on this all week and then turning it in. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, before, so I don't forget. Okay. Um, so I'm gonna give you an incentive. Okay. The way this week is gonna work is gonna be a little bit different. Today is Monday. I'm recording this right now at 5:20 a.m. I'll be posting it online for you to watch it today. Okay. Now, we are going to have our live lecture instead of Friday. I need to have it on Thursday, but there's a reason though. Okay. Um, I'm going to give you the opportunity to get some extra credit if you turn in your paper by Friday morning. If you turn your paper in by Friday 5:20, okay, then I will give you 10 points extra credit, which is essentially 2 errors off, which is also it's a whole grade. I mean, it's a whole letter grade. Okay. So if you turn your paper in and you make a 90 on it, then you'll receive a 100. If you turn your paper in and you receive a 70 on it, oh my gosh, okay, you'll get an 80 on it, which goes from a C to a B. Okay. Now, I'm giving you this incentive only because the only reason it's not to be kind to you. The only reason is because we're going to the beach on Monday, the 16th, and I would love to not have so many essays to grade while we're at the beach. Okay, Monday through Friday we'll be there, and so if I can get a bunch graded essays graded on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, then I would much appreciate that. Okay. And then have fewer essays to grade Monday through Friday while I'm at the beach. Okay. So, but I had set the original due date to be on Monday the 16th, and it would be unfair to require you to turn it in before then. Okay. Because I'm trying to give you as much time as possible. So I'm going to do a live lecture on Thursday. And in that live lecture, I will do a live edit of somebody's paper. If somebody has a paper that they can send to me on before Thursday, even if it's not totally done yet, ideally it'll be done. It'll be like, the best of your possible ability to get done. Then I will do some live edits on Thursday. Also on Thursday, I'll answer any last minute questions that you have about your paper. Okay. And then you can have all Thursday to finish your paper. And then you can try to submit it Friday morning for me to grade them. Okay. If you turn your papers in Friday and Saturday, I'll offer the 10 points. If you submit it, or I'm not guaranteeing you Sunday to get extra credit points because like I won't be grading all day on Sunday. We'll be getting ready for our trip and stuff. So I'm really just gonna be giving myself time on Friday, maybe Saturday morning to grade these early ones. Okay, to get a head start. All right, a head start. So really, Friday is that goal of the extra credit is if you submit it anytime on Friday. Anytime on Friday, that's your extra credit date. It's not Saturday, it's not Sunday. Okay. So submit it on Friday. Okay, that'd be great. Hey, yeah, 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 yeah. But you don't have to. You don't have to submit it until Monday. And really, you don't even have to submit it until I grade all of them. So if I don't grade the essay, if I don't finish grading the essays by Wednesday of next week, anytime that you've submitted that essay Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday morning, it's not late. It's not, you don't get any late grades until I grade every single person's essay that's been submitted and I have no more to grade. Then I'll give zeros. And when I give zeros, the highest grade you can receive when you do turn in that essay late is a 70. And that's if there's no errors. Okay. So you got to make sure that you are getting the work that you get it turned in before I complete the grading process. And remember, hopefully I can start grading for essays as early as Friday. So I can reduce the number of essays I grade throughout the week. The paper is not officially due until Monday, and then it's not even really due until I finish grading all the essays that have been turned in. Okay. So earlier, sooner, the better. Okay. Again, I'm gonna go over stuff today. Thursday, you can ask me questions during the live lecture, which we'll have at 9. Uh, I'm still deciding on the time on Thursday. We might wait till 10 o'clock to do that on Thursday. So I'll let you know. The live lectures, sorry y'all, they just have to be kind of like flexible, okay? Because I have kids. This is an online class. Part of the reason I'm an online teacher is because I can't be necessarily in the class in the college classroom all on a set schedule, right? So I teach online, and so the live lectures have to be a little flexible, all right, especially for the summer. And it's going to be Thursday. I will set a specific time because we're having a sleepover. Okay, so I'm gonna have kids here, and I'm gonna make breakfast for these hungry kids. Okay, but they kind of sleep late, so I'm thinking it's gonna be Thursday. We'll do the lecture at 9, and then be over by 10, and then I can make them breakfast. Okay, you know, you know, okay. Um, and then on Friday, and the reason why we're not doing the live lecture for Friday is because Friday I'm gonna be recording the following week's lecture. I'm gonna go ahead so that way I can go ahead and post it, and well, I don't have to record it on Monday morning before driving to the beach. Okay. And I know a lot of you are going on vacation, going on trips this semester, and which is fine. I'm going on a trip, and but I'll also be grading your stuff. Okay. And we're going on another trip in July, and I'll have to, you know, balance that work also during that week. All right. So that's just what we do. Okay, let's get to what we're doing this week. So if we're looking, let me not forget to share my screen. Okay, so this live lecture, I'm going to go over, I'm not going over quiz 3 necessarily yet. I might save that for the live lecture. We'll see how this goes. I'm going over writing your paper. That's your number one focus for this week. Writing your paper, formatting and grammar reminders. Okay. Constructing works cited page, writing your essay examples. I'm going over all that. Don't use AI. All right. I'm going over all this count today. All right. This week you are writing and submitting essay 1. Okay. In your essay, I'll go over all it needs to be in your essay, including the works cited page, all that kind of stuff. You need to continue to be reading your novel, your independent novel, because um, that needs to be done by July 7th. Okay. And then let's see. And then this week, all right, so I know you're working on an essay, but you also have probably two films to watch. Okay. So I'm gonna begin discussing. I'm going straight into Unit 2, SA2 next week. All right. And in that, Unit 2, SA2 is about writing about film. Okay. And analyzing film because this is in preparation for Unit 3, where you do both your novel and the film adaptation of it. Okay. So in that, I will be analyzing two films in the lectures. One, I'll be going over Moana, doing a deep feminist analysis of Moana. And then two, I'll be going over a deep uh, critical race theory, Marxist, and feminist analysis of the 1992 horror film Candyman. Okay, so it'll be helpful if you watched this Candyman, 1992. Okay, a horror film. Scary. Oh my gosh. Okay. There was a remake, or not a remake. It was kind of like almost like a sequel made, and just a couple years ago. But if you can, I want you to watch the original. If you have the time to do it. I'm not providing it for you. If you want to watch it, you will have to rent it from Amazon Prime or Apple TV or Google for $4. You can sign up for Tubi and watch it. Okay. There's no quiz. There's no requirement to watch it. There is zero. So like I cannot require you to pay money to watch this film. If if I was teaching this class live, like in person, like we were in the classroom, we would be watching it in class, like I've done before. All right. But I'm not with you in person. So, and legally I cannot record the film and then post it. Okay. And I've gotten a lot of trouble on YouTube. Remember like last week when I had you watching the This is American Music video? I could not have that in my video. I had it before. I had made a lecture where I streamed it and then I talked about it and I paused it and I discussed it as the video was going on, and I got in big trouble from copyright infringement, YouTube, whatever. So I can't do that. So I'm asking you to watch the film. Okay. If you absolutely hate horror films, then don't watch it. If you just want, an entertaining homework assignment and where you get to enjoy the, effects of a horror film that deals with race, but also deals with misogyny and also can be interpreted through a Marxism, perspective, then watch Candyman, the 1992 film. Okay. Um, I will be using it as an example for what you're doing in SA2. Okay. It directly relates to SA2. It is my teaching material for SA2. Okay. And then I'll also be discussing Moana as well. Now, I won't be discussing Moana as in depth as I am with Candyman. I'm not going to be using as many different perspectives on Moana. Moana is just a feminist perspective that I'm giving. Okay. Now, I love but it's not going to be as in depth as the Candyman analysis. All right. So if you can do both Moana and Candyman, then that'd be great. If you can only do one, I would suggest Candyman. Okay. All right. So that's your homework for this week. Watching Candyman. And I would finish so the process of this essay, because I'm going to go over in a moment, okay, is that like let's just say you're giving yourself till Friday. Like, you are going to submit this essay on Friday. Okay, on Friday. Well, don't sit down right now and do all of it at once. All right. Here is the process that you should take. And this process will also allow you time to watch Candyman and Moana. Okay. So I'm gonna pull up a student, where is it? A student uh outline. Maybe I did not. Maybe I closed out of it. Let's see here. Summer. Oh no, I think I accidentally moved somehow to summer 2025. Let's see. It's okay. I'll find it. All right, Jeff Tweedy. This is his outline, okay? All right. So in a moment, all right. So the process of writing your essay. Now, before I get into really get into the outline, I have to go to this other document for you. But first, I'm gonna tell you about the week. All right. So you have an introduction to write. You have explain the critical lens paragraph. You have this third paragraph about the philosophy. You have a fourth paragraph about the philosophy and the book theme, and then you have a fifth paragraph that is your conclusion. All right. Okay. So if you're thinking about this week, today's Monday. We have Monday, and your goal is to submit this by Friday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. All right. Do not sit down and try to write this whole essay at once. Don't do it. Okay. The point of the outline is so that way you have all your main ideas laid out. You know what you're going to say in each of your body paragraphs. If you did it correctly, you have your quotes, you have the things that you're going to say. All right. So, what I tell all my students always to do is write one paragraph a day, one paragraph a day, and that's it. Because as you are writing, you are like, let's say you sit down right here, you have 100% brain capacity. As you are writing, your brain capacity is deleting, it's going down. Oh, depletion. Okay, it's like gas, you're using it up. All right. And so if you start writing your essay from the beginning, try to end it, do it all, you're starting with 100%. And then by the time you get to the end of the essay, you are running on fumes. And those last couple of paragraphs, the quality is going way down because you're only using 20% of your brain power left. You're only using 10% of your brain power left. So if you use all of your brain power for one paragraph, I mean that paragraph gets 100% of your brain activity. And then you don't. Then you stop writing. Then the next day, when you're tackling paragraph 2 on Tuesday, you can focus all your brain energy on that one paragraph, write a kick-ass paragraph, make sure you double check it that has everything it needs to have, which I'm going to show you in a moment. And you have written an awesome paragraph using 100% of your brain power. And now you have 2 paragraphs, and both of them use 100% of your brain individually. Okay. And then Wednesday, you sit down to write paragraph 3, the existentialism paragraph. And you focus 100% of your brain power on just that one paragraph. All you're doing is writing one paragraph, a kick ass paragraph. And that's it. You write it, you edit it, you get it perfect. Okay. An essay, a paper, is only a series of paragraphs. That's all it is. People get overwhelmed. They're like, oh my God, I got to write like 4 pages, 3 pages, 5 pages, 8 pages. And they think of like in terms of pages and word lengths. And that overwhelms them and sends them, fills them up with anxiety. Cut all that out. Narrow vision. Narrow vision. If you're only focused on one paragraph, I'm only writing one paragraph. All I got to do today is write a kick-ass paragraph. I'm going to give myself an hour to write an awesome paragraph. I'm going to edit the crap out of it. I want to edit it. I'm going to look at everything I'm doing in that one paragraph. I'm not worried about having to get to the next one, because I'm only doing one today. So you can, in 30 minutes, write one paragraph and then take 30 minutes to edit that one paragraph and add a little bit, delete a little bit, make it great. Okay. And then If you're using only, well, if you're just writing one paragraph and you have 100% brain power, that paragraph's probably going to be long. You have plenty of energy to make it a long paragraph. So if you write 1/3 of a length page paragraph per day, then you have five of those, okay, you will end up easily with a long essay, good paragraphs, and it won't feel like it was rushed, or it won't feel like it starts off good and then it gets really crappy towards the end. All right. And then if you're only doing one paragraph a day, then you could today do one paragraph and then read a little bit of your book. And then tomorrow, you can read one paragraph, you can write one paragraph, read a little of your book. And then maybe say tomorrow night, Tuesday night, you're going to watch Moana. Okay. And then Wednesday, you do a third paragraph, read a little bit of your book, and then just chill, go to bed early, stay up late, whatever you want to do. Okay. Thursday, um, you write another paragraph, you watch my lecture, you participate in the lecture, you ask a few questions, cool, cool, cool. And then you finish up your essay on Friday. Friday night, watch Candyman, read a little bit of your book, and then your weekend's already complete. You're done. You don't even need to like do any work on the weekend. All right. People get overwhelmed when they have bad time management. Okay. College can be really, really achievable if you practice good time management. Writing your papers. And a lot of you right now are like, will you shut up and just get to doing this stuff? You know? But this is part of the curriculum. Me helping you understand how to plan out and utilize your time wisely in college or just in life is important information. Okay. And so, writing papers, I want you to always be a good writer. I want all of your future classes where you write essays in them. I want all your professors and instructors to be like, damn, they are a good writer. Okay. And I want to feel like I helped contribute to your ability to be a good writer. And one of the best, I don't know, tools or weapons a writer can have is time management. Okay. Writing under a short amount of time will eventually create poorly constructed papers. Okay. But giving yourself plenty of time to put in a lot of quality, and a fewer quantity load yields the best results. So low quantity, one paragraph per day, high quality. Great paragraph, though. Great paragraph. Great paragraph. Great paragraph. Okay? Okay, great. Fantastic. And the last thing I'll say is this. If you write a 5 paragraph essay all at once, okay, and that means that each paragraph averages to only using 20%, only receiving 20% of your brain power, okay? Because your brain will deplete. It'll go from 100 to 0 by the end of that paper. If you use this method of writing one paragraph per day, then every paragraph averages out to 100%, 100% brain capacity. Okay. Okay. So when you when you go to our Blackboard and you go to week 30, you'll see all these documents. You'll see summer essay one, read before submitting. Example of paragraph 2 of essay 1. Example 1102, philosophy and lit essay 1, paragraphs 3 and 4. No AI. And then this is the Dropbox for literary analysis, the final draft, which is essay 1. Okay. Let's first go over the summer essay 1, read before submitting document, which I have right here. And I probably won't, I'm not going to go over all of it. I'm going to highlight some stuff for you, okay? Because 3 pages long and you can read, I think. All right, essay 1, overview. Literary analysis essay helps you to analyze and develop your ideas with supporting evidence, primary and secondary sources. Okay. So you have a primary source and then you have four secondary sources. Okay. Make sure that your essay follows the outline that I gave you. Make sure you identify a theme and a philosophy in your primary source. Develop your analysis with evidence from the primary and secondary sources. Okay. Make sure you have MLA formatting in your essay. So MLA formatting, important theme and philosophy. It should be 3 pages in length, 3 full pages, not 2.5, not 2 3/4, 3 pages. So to be safe, you should have 4 pages really of writing. If you at least get to the 4th page, like one line on the 4th page, you're good. And then you have a works cited page as well. So ideally, your total document is 5 pages to be safe. Okay. You got to talk about theme and philosophy and a symbol from the story. You need to use Galileo and or the reliable sources that I gave you. You have to have a total of 4 secondary sources. At least two need to be from Galileo. You need 4 direct quotes from your secondary sources, which equates to at least 1 quote per source minimum. Try to use about 3 quotes from your short story. Honestly, I'm not necessarily counting. Some of you, if I read your paper and I feel like there's not enough quotes in here, then I'll count them. Okay. If I read and it never occurs to me while I'm reading it that you don't necessarily have enough quotes, then I might not catch it. I'm not grading you with a set rubric where I am marking stuff. I have the things in my head that I'm looking for. And so when I'm reading it, when I'm reading your paper, these things stand out to me. Okay. If you get away with missing one of these requirements because I didn't notice it, that means that your paper was probably pretty good, was good, and it was convincing where I wasn't left with questions. If you or it could be that I was so distracted by so many other errors you were making that I missed some of these other ones. Okay. So again, these are if I doubt what you're doing, if I'm like this seems to be missing something, then I'll go back to this and verify it on your paper. Okay. But there are some papers that are written so well that technically speaking, they miss a few of these things. But the paper was so good, it didn't show. All right. Use only short quotations, 1 to 3 lines of typed text. Please do not have long quotes. Try to break those quotes up and take chunks of the quote out, and put it in your sentences. Okay. Break up large quotes. Don't try to fill in the space with large quotes. Remember, support should only be 30% of your overall paragraph. 30%. All right, MLA formatting is required. Okay. Your thesis statement, chosen theme, source title, school of philosophy, and symbol. Okay. So here's an example. For existential feminist writers like Kate Chopin, personal autonomy is the purest form of pleasure, as symbolized by the open window in the story of an hour. Okay. That's my thesis. For if I read the story of an hour and wrote my paper about that story, I don't think I even gave you that option. Okay. Which is why I used it here. So you can't steal my thesis. But here though, I mentioned my philosophy, existentialism. I mentioned my lens, feminism. I mentioned my author, the author of my work, Kate Chopin. Here is my theme, that personal autonomy is the purest form of pleasure. Okay. And then my symbol is the open window. And then all this is from the story of an hour. Okay. So in one sentence, you need to reference your story that you're reading, the philosophy, the lens, the symbol, and the theme. Woo-hoo-hoo. Okay. You can turn your lens and philosophy into adjectives like I did: existential, feminist. Okay. Feminist is both a noun and an adjective. Each body paragraph should have the following. This is just body construction: acclaim, support, okay, and analysis. And make sure that you have that they follow the right percentages. Your analysis should be half your paragraph. The conclusion should be personal. The conclusion should be first person, because it's about you. If you're following the outline, you know it's about you. And there should be a works cited page, which we'll go over today. You did your outline, it'll be fine. Or you did your annotated bibliography, it'll be fine. Okay. Read through this stuff. Make sure you read all of it. First person for the introduction is fine if you want to. If you want to talk about how you enjoyed the story, go ahead. The conclusion has to be first person though. And then the body paragraphs can be third person. All right. A grading. 5 points off for each formatting error. 5 points off for a citing error. 5 points off for a quote integration error. 5 points off for misspelling names or other spelling errors. Red squigglies mean the word's misspelled. 5 points off for citation errors. 5 points off for typos. Okay, so you get six. If you get 6 errors, you're down to 70. Of course, you get 6 errors, you get a 70, but you turned it in on Friday, you'll 10 points, so you get an 80. But still, 5 points if the works cited page contains a source not quoted in the essay. Every single source on the works cited page needs to be in the essay. 10 points off if a body paragraph does not include a direct quote from a secondary source. If for every secondary source that you're lacking, you lose 10 points. If you're supposed to have 4 secondary sources, but you only have 3, minus 10 points. Okay. Minus 10 points if it's not in the paper, and then minus 5 points if that source is in the works cited page. It's a problem. Don't use AI. I am not grading you on your ability to craft beautiful sentences or an advanced vocabulary. Your sentences, while they should be grammatically correct, should also still sound like the writing of a freshman college student / high school dual enrollment student. Do not use AI suggested rephrasing of your writing. You need to first master how to write all on your own before learning how to incorporate those resources into your writing. Don't use AI, please. Spelling check grammar is fine, but you need to figure out your own sentence structures. Okay. So, works cited page. Works cited page. Let's see. I'm going to stop share for a moment. I'm going to pull up someone's annotated bibliography because I'm going to show you now how to do your works cited page. Let's see. This is why hopefully that you did the annotated bibliography correct. I mean, not even correct, that you at least have sources that you're actually using in your paper. Okay, so okay, here we go. Change this kid's name. I want to do the same fake name that I'm using for the outline. Okay. All right. So first off, before we get to the works cited page, okay. Your outline, the outline that you use should be what you start to is what you should use for your essay. So what you should do is pull your outline, go to File, Save As, change the name to Essay One, final draft, whatever. Okay. When you do Save As, now you're saving it's creating a whole new file. Okay. Because you're going to be using your outline to to type your essay in it. Okay, this will help you to stay focused on what you want to say in each paragraph. All right, so you've saved it now as a final draft. You didn't change the file because you want to still have your outline. Because like if I go here to where my files are, I still have my outline right here, but now I have the final draft. Okay. Now, if you want to, you can go ahead and do the works cited page right now. Go to the end of your essay or your outline, enter our new page, go to center, do essay works cited. That's the title of this page, works cited. Okay. Now, if I go to my annotated bibliography, I already have my sources that I used in my paper that I'm going to use for my paper. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to put it here. And then I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to copy it and go to my, wherever you are, you bastard. Let's see here. Here, I'm going to paste it. Go to my anti-bib, go to get my third one here. Copy it, put it here. And then I think for your anti-bib, only made you do, you do all four. Copy it, put it there. All right, so I have those for it. Now I'm going to go to this essay one, read before submitting. Okay, and then here I have primary source citations. I have them all, the stories listed here, all the things that you were able to write about here. All right. So this one I'm doing is about graveyard shift. I'm just going to pick the one that I read, copy it, go back over here. All right. And I'm going to post it or paste it. Now look, I know that I chose a student sample that's not an anti-bibliography that's not about the story that this outline's actually about. Okay, but I just did it for the sake of real fast. Then we'll make sure it's in alphabetical order. C K W E W I V. All right, great. Now there is additional space between this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and highlight, go to paragraph, make sure this is 0, 0, double. All right, great. So now this is my works cited page. I just took the 4 from my annotated bibliography, and then I took my short story from the read before posting document that we're just looking at. All right. And here it is. So that should be super easy. You've already done the hard work. You already did the annotated bibliography that you were supposed to have. And I provided to you the read before submitting document that has all the stories on it that you just need to copy and paste. All right. Okay. So there's that. Now let's look at. Oh, whoops, that's not it. Let's look at this outline. All right. So there's a couple of things I want to point out for the outline. This is both to show you a process and also to give you some tips. Okay. So my first paragraph is introduction. Short story, Graveyard Shift by Stephen King. Marxist, symbols, the rats, school of philosophy, existentialism, thesis statement. Stephen King's Graveyard Shift, the decaying textile mill, and its monstrous infestation symbolize the dehumanizing effects of exploitative labor, illustrating how fear, alienation, and class oppression consume workers both physically and psychologically. Okay, so that's great. That's a good thesis statement. I could start with my introduction if I want to. But the great thing about having an outline is that I can write whatever paragraph I want to write because it already contains all the things I want to say. Okay. But here's something that I want to go over then is that while your paper has quotes, and I want you to integrate quotes, okay, not all quotes are equal. Some quotes are not good quotes. So I will be evaluating also like whether or not you picked a good enough quote. Might be some people who might lose points because I feel like the quotes you chose weren't great. Okay. So I want to bring up attention here. I think this is the one. So we have this paragraph is about Marxism. We have this secondary source 2 quote. The world of Graveyard Shift has a class caste system, less formally acknowledged than many, but hardly less rigid. Okay. All right. And then here we have the rats symbolizing it. And then after we have this quote from the story, and after a while, the rats came out and sat atop the bags at the back of the long room, watching him with their unblinking black eyes. They looked like a jury. Now, I don't know necessarily if this is the best quote or not. It could be. It might not be. Okay. So instead, I was thinking about how the graveyard shift. Let's see. Okay, hold on. That one I might be okay with. Let's look at this next quote. Okay. Well, okay. Let me go toward this one. This one. Maybe I'll sign with that one. Let's look at this paragraph. Here we have connecting the philosophy to the book's theme. Okay. So this is about existentialism. And rooted in existentialist philosophy, this theme explores how individuals experience isolation, meaninglessness, and disconnect within a hostile or different world. All right. Then there's this quote here. The rats and the creature are just metaphors for the death everyone hopes to avoid by working in a factory. All right. Now, if I were to use this quote, I um, I would just factory is too specific to. So I would just end it with the rats and the creature are just metaphors for the death everyone hopes to avoid by working or through working. Okay. And I would end it there when I incorporate into my paragraph because factory is too specific. But instead, we just like, our life right now, everyone has to, the world we live in, we have to all work. And so, but we all don't work in factories. Okay. Um, and so, um, and so you could even change this to by having to work and not keep it so specific to the factory. Okay. Then we have this. The basement was long, low, and black. The shadows seemed to crouch and listen. To me, this quote does not really get to this idea of isolation, meaninglessness, disconnect, indifference, and death. Okay. So then I did find, let's see, a better quote. The place looked like the shattered nave of a desecrated church with its high ceilings and mammoth discarded machinery that they would never be able to move. Its wet walls overgrown with patches of yellow moss, and the atonal choir that was the water from the hoses running the half-clogged sewer network that eventually emptied into the river below the falls, and the rats, huge ones that made those on third look like dwarfs. God knew what they were eating down here. They were continually overturning boards and bags to reveal huge nests of shredded newspaper, watching with atavistic loathing as the pups fled. Okay. Um, oh, maybe this one. Hell had known it would be bad, but this was murder. For one thing, he had anticipated the smell, the polluted stink of the river mixed with the odor of decaying. Okay, this is the one I want to use. So this one deals much more with I would replace this quote with this quote. So can I paste it without changing format? Okay. If the rats and the creature are metaphors for the death, and we're talking about meaninglessness and isolation, disconnect. Okay. And so this quote is much more murder, death, smell, the polluted stink, the mix of decaying fabric, rotting masonry. All right. I think we'd even get rid of this little last part. So this quote much does a much better job of connecting with sentiment that this person is trying to make about like existentialism does do that. Existentialism essentially talks about how all these things that we we're creating is meaningless. It's all going to decay. It's all going to be destroyed. All these things that we had faith in actually don't are not significant. They're not forever. If they're not forever, do they really mean anything? And here, this is all about decay and death. So this quote matches better the mood and tone of what this person is trying to say. Okay, so we got to make sure that we have better. Make sure that we get better. Make sure that we have the best quotes possible for it. Um, okay, and this one right here, this quote, I think is better for these rats. Here we have the rats and the creature are just metaphors for the death everyone. Oh wait, no, right up here. The rats. The primary source. And after a while, the rats came out and sat atop the bags at the back of the long room, watching him with their unblinking black eyes. They look like a jury. I mean, I think we get a better quote about the rats, which is this one. So again, if the rats are, it symbolizes the Marxist aspect, which here, if we have a class caste system, okay, I get it, but like we want to talk about how that capitalism is a destructive system that that turns workers into slaves, um, or or at least powerless people. Okay, so here, if the rats here represent, I guess, if we're Marxist, the bourgeoisie or the capitalists are the people who perpetuate the system. So then we need to have a worse quote, a quote that really puts them into like really bad looking perspective. So here we have this quote: something had happened to the rats back here, some hideous mutation that never could have survived under the eye of the sun. All right. I mean, there's a lot of, you can even turn this into like Christian Marxism. Okay. Religion, many religions talk about the corruption of greed and wealth. Okay. So hideous mutation is the side effects of a greedy economic system that never could have survived under the eye of the sun. The sun here could be a homophone for son, i.e., the Son of God, Jesus. Um, who said that it's harder for let's see, it's easier for a camel to get through an eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into heaven. Okay, and that nature would have forbidden it, but down here, nature had taken on another ghastly face. The rats were gigantic, some as high as 3 feet. But down here could be symbolic for hell. Deeper they get in the in this place, deeper to the ground, then it's kind of closer to hell they're getting. And so then deeper into hell you get the capitalists, the greedy people who want to sell humans and utilize human energy for their own personal gain get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, so see, you can really build on an analysis, build on interpretation through a better picked or better chosen quote that provides more um, imagery to talk about. All right. So, you don't want I'm not I'm not giving you points just for having a quote thrown in there and having a quote that is integrated correctly. The quote sucks. The quote doesn't say anything at all. The quote does not move your analysis forward. Then it's not a valid quote. Okay. So your quotes need to have value. And I've read the stories. I've chosen the stories I have read. So you got to make sure that you're finding fruitful quotes. Not all quotes are equal. Okay. Some are no good. All right. Now, of course, though, you can't have this giant quote in your paper at the same time. This is too big. Okay. All right. So let's look at this. If you're going to turn this into a paragraph, begin with our claim. So the critical lens, Marxist. Capitalism is a destructive system that turns workers into slaves or at least powerless people. Okay, that's not good. That's my jotted down idea, but not necessarily my actual what I'm actually going to say. All right, so I'm going to begin here. All right, so applying a Marxist lens to story graveyard shift reveals the deep criticism the deep criticism of capital criticism and effects capitalism has on um, workers and citizens. All right, there's my claim. That's my claim. I'm sticking to it. All right. Now I want to integrate this first quote. Okay, so reading a story, it becomes obvious that that now I'm gonna do my quote that the world of graveyard shift has a class slash caste system that is putting workers, characters, lives in danger. Um, in danger. All right, so let's just say that. And then I'm gonna cite my source. This is Emery's. Okay. Oops. Now I'm going to delete this because integrated my quotes. All right. Now I might add a few lines though to to explain this before I go into my next quote. All right. Foreman and obviously the owner of the mill seem to not have any care for the lives of the people who work the night shifts at the mill. As it was revealed, they knowingly ignored the safety requirements that were that would have protected their employees from the dangers of the infestation of the rats. Okay, so now this brings us to the rats. So I can bring into my symbolism. Okay, the image of the rats. This is all symbolic of the dangers of unrestricted capitalism. Okay. Um, that I don't know, not promotes, but I don't know that word promotes, but that that pushes the idea that as long as one pays a person to perform a duty, then there is no moral responsibility for the outcomes. Okay. The rats in the story represent said um, represent the negative or the dehumanizing, I don't know, no, the life threatening, the life threatening, the life threatening effects that can befall workers whose lives are not valued. Okay, now I'm gonna give my quote, but I can't do all of it, so I need to break some of this up. Okay. Um, as the rats have gone through some sort of now I'm gonna take a quote. I'm gonna take this right here. Okay, so I'm gonna highlight the things I want to put into my paragraph. Hideous mutation. Under the eye of the sun. Maybe nature forbidden it. Okay, and then ghastly face. Okay. So as the rats have gone through some sort of hideous mutation, the same goes for a capitalistic system that simultaneously allows, see, I misspelled that, not misspelled, allows some people to find success in life while also allowing others to be brutally, brutally um, subjugated, subjugated, quote, under the eye of the sun, even though to do such things to each other, nature would have forbidden it. Okay, king. And then this is from page 13, or no, page 12. Okay. So that's, and then I just need to add in a little bit of a, all right. As the workers go deeper and deeper into the mill, finding ghastly and more ghastly rats, we can see how that capitalism um, can be used in the seedy underbelly of society to cause much harm to others. All right. Okay, so let's look at this paragraph here. Applying a Marxist lens to the story Graveyard Shift reveals, applying a Marxist lens to the Graveyard Shift to the story of Graveyard Shift reveals the deep criticism and effects capitalism has on workers and citizens. Reading the story, it becomes obvious that, quote, the world of Graveyard Shift has a class caste system that is putting characters' lives in danger. Emery's foreman and obviously the owner of the mill seem to not have any care for the lives of the people who work the night shifts at the mill. As it was revealed, they knowingly ignored the safety requirements that would have protected their employees from the dangers of the infestation of the rats. This is all symbolic of the dangers of unrestricted capitalism that pushes the idea that as long as one pays a person to perform a duty, then there's no moral responsibility for the outcomes. The rats in the store represent the life-threatening effects that can befall workers whose lives are not valued. As the rats have gone through some sort of hideous mutation, same goes for a capitalist system that simultaneously allows some people to find success in life while also allowing others to be brutally subjugated under the eye of the sun, even though to do such things to each other, nature would have forbidden it. As the workers go deeper and deeper into the mill, finding more ghastly rats, we can see how capitalism can be used in the seedy underbelly of society to cause much harm to others. I quoted King again on that page. Okay. All right. All right. So I could now let's look at. I'm going to highlight the proportions to make sure that my proportions are correct. This is my claim. Okay. Here is support. Okay. This is summary. That is support. That is support. That's support. That's support. Okay. Now, this though, let's see. The foreman and obviously the owner of the mill seem to not have any care of the lives of the people who work the night shifts at the mill. They never say that. This is interpreted. So that is analysis. This is all symbolic of the dangers of unrestricted capitalism that pushes the idea that as long as one pays a person to perform a duty, then there's no moral responsibility for the outcomes. That is analysis. The rats in the story represent the life-threatening effects that can befall workers. That is analysis. That's interpretation. Here we have an interplaying between summary or quote and analysis. The rats have gone through a hideous mutation. That is from the story. The same goes for capitalist system that simultaneously allows some people to find success in life while also allowing others to be brutally subjugated. That is analysis. Um, Even though they do such things to each other. As the workers go deeper and deeper into the mill, finding, oh, I guess all that is, this is all summary. This is analysis. All right. So let's see. We have um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7.5 lines of claim and support. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one's 5, 6, 7, 8 lines of analysis. At least 50% or more analysis. So this paragraph fits the mold for the requirement. Okay? It's claim support analysis. It has more analysis than everything else. It has 2 quotes. It has a quote from a secondary source. It has quotes from Stephen King. And also, my quote is not super long. It's integrated. Okay. Will this necessarily be published in a professional journal? Probably not. Okay. But this is what I expect you to be able to do. All right. And this is how you should attack each paragraph. One paragraph at a time. One paragraph at a time. Start with what you got going on here, and then format that into one paragraph. All right. Now, I do want to point out with this outline here, we have explain the school of philosophy, existentialism. A quote from secondary source 3. King exposes exactly what one seeks to avoid by nestling in arguably escapist horror stories. This quote has nothing to do with existentialism. This third paragraph should be about the philosophy. It shouldn't. The third paragraph should not be about your short story. It should just be about the philosophy, existentialism. Fourth paragraph is connecting philosophy to the short story. So for this outline, this person who used this quote, now I'm not going to mark points off for the outline, but for the essay, that's incorrect. Okay. So again, just because you have quotes doesn't mean it's all correct. All right. So that's an example of a body paragraph that you are writing about how you have taken information from your outline and formed it into a body paragraph. All right. I'm not going to do that for all the paragraphs right now because I think that would make you want to kill yourself if you had to sit through all that. But if you go to content and lessons, week 3, here I have an example of paragraphs 2, 3, and 4. So this is an example of paragraphs 3 and 4. This is a paragraph on Stoicism. This whole paragraph, oh, I'm highlighting, you jerk. I'm done highlighting. This whole paragraph is about Stoicism. It's just about Stoicism. And then I apply Stoicism to a different story I read called The Outsider, or called Outsider from Trevor Noah's book. And then here you can read how I apply, this is not me, this is the student who wrote this, how they applied Stoicism to this short story. Okay? Hold on. I'm going to delete this part. We don't need all of this. I just wanted 3 and 4. Okay? So this is all Stoicism. And then this paragraph is connecting Stoicism to Noah's chapter, The Outsider. Okay? You can read this and get a sense of it, of what I'm wanting you to do. All right. And then I did provide for you another example of paragraph 2. This is a Marxist and sociological reading of Graveyard Shift. This is a different paragraph, not the one that I just wrote. This is a different one. All right. Also, I'm going to change this. This quote, instead of this quote highlights, these views or Hardecker's perspective. Don't ever write like, oh, here's a quote. Hardecker's perspective highlights the unusual power. Yeah, there we go. All right. So then here is, I'm not going to read this one for you because I just did one. It's here for you to look at. All right. So you can look at example paragraph 2, and you can look at examples of paragraphs 3 and 4. They're both here. All right. So be sure to do that. I will post this example of writing my paragraph in my outline. Okay. So you can see this as well. All right. Now, if I wrote this paragraph, the idea is that like, okay, I write my introduction. I'm just going to pretend that this is my introduction. We're pretending. Okay, so let's say I wrote my introduction. I'm going to delete this. Okay, let's say this is my introduction. And then let's say I wrote that. I don't want you to actually highlight. So we're gonna have that off. And then I'm gonna pretend that these two paragraphs are my paragraphs for 3 and 4. So let's say I wrote these next couple paragraphs. Okay. And then I'm going to pretend, because I just want you to see it, I'm going to pretend that this is my conclusion. All right. So let's say I wrote my 5 paragraphs. It's one paragraph. It's the second, where's the second paragraph? Second paragraph there. Another paragraph is here. And then there's that paragraph. And there's this. I have my 5 paragraphs. Well, I need to format this. I wrote my paragraphs, but now I got to make sure it's all formatted correctly. So I have my title. Okay. First, make sure that my paragraphs are. See, I need to bring this one over, and I need to tab, and then I need to bring this one over. I need to tab. And then I need to. I don't know what I did here. I get rid of this. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of that. And I got to bring this up. Okay, and then my works cited page. I'm gonna notice the edges. Okay, these are all these are jagged. These edges are straight. So I need to select it all. And I'm gonna go up to here, justify. So it's all straight down. But then my title needs to not be justified. My title needs to be centered. I have some space issues here. So I'm gonna select all. I'm gonna go to paragraph. It should be 0, 0, double. Okay, that closed that up for me. So I have my last name and page numbers. I have my heading. I have my title. My first paragraph is indented. Second paragraph is indented. I have no additional space in paragraphs. Indented. Okay. Okay. Okay, good. All right. Now my works cited page should be on its own page. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to put it on its own page. Okay. I want to make sure these are alphabetized. C, K, W, E, W, I, V. Okay, great. And then I'm going to make sure that these have hanging indents. Okay. That they're formatted correctly. First line is here. Then the second lines are indented. First line of each citation is all the way to the left. But then the second lines, third lines are indented. Okay. So those are all looking good. And this is the way my essay should look. Okay. I have 1, 2, 3, and a little bit of a fourth page. So I have met my minimum. I can have more if I want to. And then I have my works cited page. My essay looks good. All right. I have my paragraphs all here in MLA formatting. All right. That's the way your essay should look. Now, of course, there's not real stuff in these paragraphs. These paragraphs are all what they're talking about are all different. They don't follow the outline as they should. I just put it here so you can see how it looks. It should look like this, your essay. But this should be your introduction, and then these should be your body paragraphs, and the last one should be your conclusion. And then you have a works cited page all on its own page. See, it's on its own page. The final thing I'm going to say is this. Once you go over this no AI document, something that I've written to students several times. I'll grade their papers and realize they're using AI. I'll be honest with you. So I say to them, Your essay reads like you used AI to write it, and then you try to augment it with quotes and little things I told you to do. The main reason I feel this way is because of the following. And these are common errors that, and I might be like revealing to you this, the obvious what things to avoid when using AI. But I guess I am. You have more paragraphs than I stated you should have based upon the outline, and they are not, and they are all short. I often will put in my essay prompts into ChatGPT to see what kinds of essays it pops out. And routinely, it is quantity over quality type of work. A series of short paragraphs. So that's a big giveaway. A lot of short paragraphs, way more than what I put in the outline. Your conclusion does not follow what I stated to do and how it should all be first person. Instead, it reads like you wrote a first person sentence and then stuck it at the beginning of an AI generated conclusion. That becomes pretty obvious. Lines like the meta narrative of the movie, in which Joe haggles for her book deal, supports the idea that women should have control over their own narratives, a position that Alcott herself supported. These kind of lines do not sound like they were written by a college freshman. Generally, the idea of meta anything is lost on freshmen. Also, this whole paragraph about Beth that lacks any type of quote or use of a source is written in a textbook AI style. Beth's role in the household, though less vocal than her sisters, is an example of the unrecognized emotional and physical labor women contribute daily. Blah, 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 blah. A lack of sources often tells me it's AI. Okay. The final indicator is that your essay is worded so well and formatted correctly, but your works cited page fails to reflect any of the intentions of the details I have taught. There's a major divide between the skill level of the essay and the skill level of the works cited page, which leads me to question whether you wrote your essay or had AI write it. But now here's the important stuff, y'all, which I want you to know. Ultimately, your grade on essays are not affected by my suspicion because I have no proof. There is no proof for AI. Your grade is based on the errors that are evident objectively in your essay. I only write you my suspicions to make the point that I hope you are not, or will at least not use AI in the future. I want you to develop your own skills and abilities in writing your essays. If you don't learn now, it will only get harder. But if you wrote all this yourself and you did not use an ounce of AI, then consider this a compliment to your writing that you have been able to craft well-written responses. Okay. When I try to point out to y'all that I think they're using AI, it's not to chastise you or to even punish you because I'm not taking any points off of my feelings of AI. But I do want to point out that if you did use AI and I picked up on it, then other instructors and teachers will too. So you should just make sure that your work is authentically yours. Okay. So please don't use AI when writing your papers. Okay. It becomes obvious. It becomes very, very obvious. You should write your papers and then you should make an appointment with the academic center, the Learning Success Center. They'll help look at your papers and point out errors that you can fix and help you on how to fix them. All right. Okay. I know this was a lot. I'm sorry. It's always a lot. Okay. This week, I hope you work on your paragraphs one a day. I hope that you get your paper done by Friday and submit it Friday so I can start grading them on Friday. I'll give you extra credit points if you submit it on Friday. Okay. Not Saturday or Sunday. All right. Try to watch Candyman and Moana. That'd be great. Okay. And then email me any questions you have. I'll see you Thursday at 9 a.m. Okay. All right. Take it easy now. Goodbye.